Hello, everyone, and welcome to Thracia. Ooh, first time getting to do Thracia for the channel. We're doing Thracia, but I'm going to be deploying only the minimum number of units for every single chapter. But that does mean that I have to abide by playing Thracia minimum. There's a minimum 2 deployments to start playing Thracia, so I decided to drag Danny back from the FE5 run to help fill the deployment minimum. Hi, Danny.
Help! Help! I've been dragged here against my will. I've been captured.
We are in Thracia after all.
Game mechanic reference. Is there a specific reason why you're playing Fire Emblem Thracia? Is there perhaps another word to the game title that I'm not aware of?
Oh yeah, it's almost like that it took place in a certain year in the game's in-game calendar. Huh, how funny is that? It's almost like I'm starting the run right as I hit 776 subscribers.
This is your 780 subscriber special. I understand. I understand now. I understand.
So here we are.
So, wait, before we start.
Yeah.
So we currently have 5 units deployed, right? I believe it's on turn 2. 3 more units will get deployed. So you're gonna rig movement stars to 1-turn this map.
I don't even know if you can do that properly.
You can't, but you should. You cannot, but you should.
You do realize that means now you would have to be stuck here watching me rig movement stars, right? And move levels.
So what you actually do is you only rig 1 movement star, and then you have leave gale forces waiting at the throne. Just a chain of gale force with all those unlucky soldiers just sit there like, why me?
It's like bard training around enemies, and they're forced to sit there and watch as you just walk around them, and they can't do anything about it.
Bard trains are so funny.
They are. Oh, very important thing we have to decide on is what our window pattern is going to be.
Oh, what version of the game are you doing?
I think this is Little Manster. I have not checked in a while.
Little Manster remove the bisexual palette?
Oh, you have to like set it yourself, I think. You have to...
It used to be one of the default options.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It used to be one of the default options.
I kind of like this brick design one. I think we're gonna go with
If only the bricks were bisexual. Ooh, I like that color.
Yeah, I think we're gonna do a little bit of like a purplish background on the bottom.
I like the purple. Purple is my favorite color.
Oh, nice. We'll make it a little bit more purple then. There we go. Here we go. I like how this looks. This is such a thing that you can do. You can change your window color like this, and I absolutely love it, and I wish I could do it more often.
It's never been back in any other Fire Emblem to my knowledge. Like, you can change the color, but you can't customize it.
Yeah, in GBA games, you can change the color that it is between 4 presets, but you can't customize it. And I kind of miss that. It kind of makes the run feel super personal to you, because you see like screenshots of people playing the game, and you get to go, oh, that's what their window color looks like.
Well, I'm boring, and I usually just choose one of the default ones, but it's one of those features like forging weapons and naming them, where I wish they would bring it back, despite the fact that I don't take advantage of it as much as I should.
No, that's fair. Which one is that one?
Yeah, the end button is what ends the turn.
Yeah, I'm using a keyboard.
Careful. Oh, he got crit! Oh wait, is that? No, that's not crit.
Yeah, map animations always look very crit almost. I think it's just because of the way your unit like shakes a lot whenever they get hit.
Wait, is it possible to 2-turn this map and leave them behind?
I guess like...
I don't think so.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Assuming leaf, well, he's not going to get a level up, so move star 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Next turn 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You can make it in 3.
They show up on turn 3, don't they? They show up on turn 3, I think.
I think so, yeah. Because you don't have any movement stars, so you can't even like pick up leaf and run him over there for the mount.
Yeah.
Tragic.
Even Avel doesn't have movement stars, right?
I think she does. Oh wait, it's oh, but it sees.
Well, but what you do, is you Okay, so you move Leaf. You have him. You have to rescue him with like Halvin and Orson, so that Finn can take move. Give. I don't know. It's not possible.
But it's funny to think about.
If only Gale Force were in this game. If Gale Force were in this game, we could do it.
That would be something, all right. If Gale Force was in the game.
I put Gale Force in Fire Emblem, which is 776.
It's time to start feeding the capture addiction.
So, do you want to tell everyone why you have animations off? Because I think there's a specific reason, right?
Yeah, so the big reason that animations are kind of off at the moment is the real meat of the run, the whole minimum deployment thing, doesn't really start until Chapter 8, whenever deployment slots become a thing.
Well, I told you we could have done minimum deployment Chapter 1, but you don't seem to want to do that.
Because that sounds like a lot of rigging that I don't want to do.
Well, I've got another idea.
Oh, I'm open.
Technically, the minimum deployment of Chapter 2 is 2, because you can kill everyone who's not named Avel or Leaf.
This is true. I need to set up a kill for Avel.
So you should do that.
No, thank you. Wait,
don't worry. Don't worry. I'll be here with more jokes.
Avel can get captured, right? Like, immortality doesn't protect you from capture, right?
Immortality does not protect you from capture or devil backfire, but does protect you from poison death. Like death by poison.
Orson.
So you could technically, if you were able to get, like, if the FE3 Devil Sword existed, you could kill her off with that.
Alter here. I love Dagdar.
There is actually one unit in the game with the immortality flag who's capable of wielding the Devil Axe. There's exactly one unit who you can have die through immortality using the Devil effects. And if you know the answer, leave it in the comments. I'm not gonna say, in this episode at least, who it is.
Because I'm not even gonna say it. I think I know who it is, but I'm not gonna say it out loud.
There is one unit, and bear in mind, the immortality flag sometimes changes based on turn numbers, based on other conditions. So, like, for example, Tanya has the immortality flag for like 12 turns in Chapter 8X, which I think is a stupid choice, by the way. I think that's really dumb. It takes away from the tension of that map. Like, yes, she gets captured, but like, once you know she can't die,
you kind of just play around it. You just kind of go, this is fine.
Because, like, Dagdar, yeah, Dagdar can die, but he probably won't unless he rescues Tanya. So suddenly not having to rescue Tanya, now Dagdar's not in any danger either. It's just like, I know that, like, obviously older they didn't have, like, the workarounds and stuff, but, like, just having Avel retreat, like, they have Finn, Ethlin, and Quan retreat in Fire Emblem 4. I don't know why they wouldn't just do that with Avel.
Look at that.
No one else really needs to be immortal.
Using capture to set up kills, my favorite thing to do.
You missed out on a short bow.
Yeah.
How does that make you feel?
Just like the javelin I just missed out on.
Now Tanya will never hit level 20 in Chapter 1.
Tragic.
That short bow is going to be how she killed the boss. It's effective against short people.
I need another javelin. I promise I'm not going to steal everything.
I like how you didn't capture the javelin you could have gotten with the Iron Axe, but you used the Brave Lance to get one.
Reliability. Like, what would Halvin's hit rate have been? Trying to capture.
100. Halvin never fails.
I do kind of want to use Halvin in this run. I've never used Halvin longer term? I kind of want to give him a shot.
Give him the Wrath Scroll.
Wrath Vantage, you're a genius!
So like the problem with Halvan, right, is like, I'm sure some people will disagree with this. Axes are not a good weapon type. The Brave Axe is a good weapon.
Yeah, the Brave Axe is
other than
good.
that, like, the Vogue is good, but that's a personal weapon. It might as well not be an axe. Because, like, Weapon Triangle might as not exist in Thracia. Isn't this the weakest it's ever been in the series?
Yeah.
In games where it existed. Like, obviously, there's, you know, FE1 through 3 and 3 houses where, like, it's technically weaker by virtue of not being real.
By technicality, yes, I guess.
Although you could also argue it's stronger in 3 houses because of the breaker skills, and like I don't want to get into that. Like
that is a whole thing.
For some reason, I think the internet is over it. We've moved on to even more toxic 3 houses discourse. But I remember when 3 houses first came out, there were like fucking flame wars over whether or not the breaker skills on maddening mode count as weapon triangle.
Really?
And I was like, what are you doing with your life?
Why are we
this is
discussing
something
this?
you are this passionate about. Like, I understand, like, people get heated when it comes to Fire Emblem fates. We've all been there. Like, you've been there. I feel like everyone has, at some point, had to take a step back and think, I should not be getting this worked up over Fire Emblem. I don't know what it is. It's something about the series just, like, encourages that behavior. I think partially it's a fan base problem, but it's not just that, like, because even reasonable people often have, like, often just get really aggro over the tiniest things. But, like, even for the Fire Emblem community, breaker skills, are they weapon triangle or not, is an interesting question, but not one that, like, the level of vitriol. If you were there in the trenches, because I was working a job where I was mostly online. Halvan, he does double. God, no, I knew he was fine. I was wondering if he was gonna double. Soldiers are so bad.
Yeah, these soldiers are really pathetic in this chapter. That's why I like to grab a couple of short lances and javelins from them in this map, because it's not really a detriment to do so. So just why not?
Sometimes I even dismount Finn to capture his iron sword.
I don't
know. I know in my heart of hearts that you do not need to worry about wasting Brave Lance uses, especially if you can afford to hammer it if you're using Finn long term.
It still just feels like I'm using the Brave Lance to capture this low-level dude. I'm supposed to use the Brave Lance to fight hard enemies, to beat up strong enemies. That's what you're supposed to use the Brave Lance for.
I think the Brave Lance is really good for capturing later. Like, I'll use it to capture, like, how much do we care about spoilers?
I think I'm going to assume if you're watching a run like this, like a challenge-ish weird playthrough of Thracia, you're kind of already super familiar with it.
I figured that's what I usually assume as well, but I know some people, you know, it's your channel. I want to go by your standards,
yeah,
right?
Sure.
Not everyone has the same standards as me.
Yeah, I get that.
Okay, so, capturing the boss of Chapter 8 in order to unlock Chapter 8X, and capturing, Dark Mage. The fuck is his name? I want to call him Samson, but that's the guy who's in a village for certain reasons. Salem! Yeah, capturing Salem is another one. Like, I love using the Brave Lance on Salem.
Oh, yeah.
And, like, there are units that you could easily kill or even capture with other weapons, but, like, the Brave Lance gives you, like you said when I made fun of you for the soldier, like, it's the reliability, right?
It's, like, I guess I haven't shown it off yet. Look at this thing. 10 crit built into it? Gives 10 luck, so that's a little bit of extra hit.
Worth noting that lets him exceed the luck cap, which is relevant for Miracle, which he has.
Because this is a funny version of Miracle.
So, all the caps, we're assuming that you're familiar with Thracia, but we should explain basic mechanics.
Yeah, we'll
just in
explain some
case.
stuff here and there just in case.
All the caps in this are 20. That was sort of the norm for old Fire Emblem. Is every stat caps at 20 other than HP, which means that Miracle, being luck times 3%, caps out at a, I'd say reasonable 60%. And the reason I say that's reasonable is because that's the cap, right? Like, that's if you literally cap your luck. Being able to exceed the luck cap, was Halvin dead there if he got hit?
Let's find out. I didn't think about that. No, 10 attack versus 6 defense. He was fine.
Okay. But I know these enemies are shit, but I didn't know how shit, so I was like, there's a possibility, there's a possibility.
It shows that I'm only kind of halfway paying attention to this chapter right now, in case that wasn't obvious.
Yeah, that's why my commentary has kind of been all over the place, too.
I'm kind of, like, somewhat paying attention to what's going on.
I've played Chapter 1 of Thracia a bunch of times at this point, so it kind of feels like a solved affair.
Yeah, you kind of have an idea of what you're doing most runs.
So 20 luck. So Miracle would be 3 times 20. That's 60% chance to avoid lethal attacks if you cap luck. I think that's reasonable for having literally capped the stat, right?
Yes.
But with the Brave Lance, it becomes 90%. 90% is not reliable, but like it's damn good.
It's pretty funny.
It's reliable. It's kind of like I talk about this whenever we talk about dodge tanking. I think people tend to oversimplify it as either dodge tanking is great or dodge tanking isn't reliable. I think there's thresholds for reliability. And I think a 90% chance to dodge lethal attacks on top of Finn also often having a fairly reasonable avoid stat independent of Miracle. Like it's not an Iron Man safe strategy, but I think it's a reasonable strategy to employ.
I really should kill with a crit. I was trying to set up. Oops,
Were you gonna get the kill with Marty?
I was gonna give it with Leaf with the light brand.
I've captured that boss with Marty before.
And I think that's hilarious.
I was part of a relay Iron Man where there was like an achievement system. And unfortunately, my team didn't finish because the person who was supposed to do Chapter 4X just like didn't.
That's upsetting.
But there were achievements for doing specific tasks. And one of the tasks was kill the boss with Marty. And one of the tasks was capture the boss. So I captured the boss with Marty. And that was the most achievements I could get in Chapter 1.
2 birds, 1 stone.
Because it was like a competitive thing, right? Where like everyone got put on teams for the relay, and then they're not like really competing against each other, but they were kind of because of the achievement system. Like whoever got the most would get whatever team got the most would get crowned the winner.
I get that. Just
is
a little
there a
bit of
reason you didn't visit that house with Oh, right. There is a reason you didn't visit the house with Dagdar.
We gotta get the Brave Axe. I mean, after all, Ocean gets his personal, the 30 crit 1-2 range hand axe, and Halvin gets his personal, right?
Jacob, you didn't. I do wanna. So first off, obviously the joke is it's not personal. It's D rank. That's ridiculous. Can you do me a favor? Because you didn't talk about, in my opinion, the strongest part of the vote. Can you do me a favor and look at Dagdar?
Oh yeah.
Highlight these stats of the first weapon that he's got in his inventory. What is the hit on that?
45.
Can you do me a favor and highlight Orson?
80.
That is why the Voog is good. I don't care about the crit. Like, yeah, you can do like follow up crit stuff. It's not only is it accurate, but it's accurate 1-2 range. Like that shit is the fucking Fire Emblem 6 fire tone of this game.
It's incredibly accurate.
Obviously when we get mages, mages are just better at the job that Orson wants to do. But I think Orson is, because I've been theory crafting a no guidance run, I think Orson is... I wouldn't even say he's underrated. I think that there's like a pushback against him by like some higher level players in that like, oh, you know, like
Combat falls
20
off,
crits,
all
not a big
stats.
deal, combat falls off. But like 80% accuracy, that's sword level. Like look at how accurate is the Brave Lance? How accurate is the Brave Lance?
Brave Lance is 70, I believe. Yeah.
So yeah, that's like
The same
that's
as
really good. That's really good. And on promotion he gets swords as well. Which means
70
he
for
can
Iron
use...
Sword.
It's more accurate than the Iron Sword!
Yeah, it's accurate. This
Wait,
thing
how is it
hits.
versus the Light Brand? I want to see, is that the most accurate weapon you have access to at this point in the game?
I think 80 hit, yeah.
It's tied with the Light
tied with
Brand.
Light Brand.
What's the Iron Bow?
Iron
Bows
Bow.
are pretty trash in this. Yeah, 65. Bows are trash.
Sad.
Hammer, obviously. We don't need to check Hammer. Flame Sword?
Oh, Fire Sword. 70.
So, like, I mean,
Big
obviously,
iron.
Avel has really, really high skill, right?
So
So,
she
like,
makes
she can
up
just
for
use
it.
the big iron. But, like, that is the most accurate weapon type you have tied with the Light Brand.
This funny unit.
Like, obviously, you know, being 1-2 range is good. I think the fact it's both accurate and 1-2 range, like, they build on each other. I don't care about the crit. I don't care about the fact it's higher might. Like, so, should we talk about FCC, since that we did kind of automatically mention that?
This chapter's been pretty short. Let's dive right into the next one so we can continue the conversation. I think
Sure,
the next map's not going to take that long either. We'll just jump right in. Oh,
Yeah.
save.
Do you want to explain how FCC works?
Yeah.
Or PCC? I know it has two different names, or should I?
Yeah, we're going to go over FCM real quick. So it has all kinds of different names, but I usually go with FCM. When it stands for follow-up critical modifier, pursuit critical modifier, whatever you want to call it. And when you double, your second attack is multiplied by that number. Your crit chances multiplied by that. So if you have, 5 crit going into a combat round, your second swing on Leaf will have 10 critical.
A weird quirk of that system is that your first crit, despite what is displayed in the battle forecast, caps at 25.
You can only have 25 critical on your first attack.
Even though the Vogue has inherent 30 crit and it'll probably display like 35 or whatever in the forecast, it will always only have 25% in the first attack. I don't know for a fact that this is related to the FCM system. So like if anyone has dove into the code of Thracia, let me know in the comments for engagement. But if my suspicion is that the reason for the 25 cap is to prevent overflow from FCM, because I assume that if you have like 60% crit and then it gets multiplied by 5, those might be numbers that are a little bit too much for the SNES to handle.
Oops, 300 crit chance.
Are we capture baiting with the highest constitution unit in the army?
Oh no, I'm just putting him here to block so she doesn't get attacked or whatever.
Because he has no weapons.
Yeah, he mostly just has no weapons so we can take drop stuff easily.
Yeah. I really like Marty early on. Like, I think the early chapters of Thracia do a very good job of showing you that, like, non-combat units
Can do stuff.
are often as useful or sometimes even more useful than combat units. And I just think that's neat.
Same. Ow.
Like, Marty is a good demonstration of this because he is very good at being a take dropper at the point in the game when you are probably doing more capturing than you will do in the rest of the campaign. Just because of how pathetic the enemies are.
As much as we love to say, Marty, go him or whatever, these stats are 0 speed, 0 skill. That's rough.
And 0 magic, he can't even use the bolt axe effectively.
Real. Let's get Finn up here. I just like running Leaf up here so I can go grab this house and go ahead and get Ronan recruited. And I have everyone else just kind of do whatever they want down here. here we have example. Take, trade, grab some stuff, and then we just release. And there we go. Now Dagdar's free to run up and brave axe someone else.
And he can keep doing that.
What do you do against this guy? 13 twice, that doesn't kill, but that sets up a kill for Tanya.
Are we Tanya gaming?
At the moment, it looks like, unless Halvin crits. Oh, never mind, he crits on his first attack. Okay.
See, you don't need Wrath. You
I
can
know.
just always crit with Halvin.
Because I know Halvin has 4 FCM, and I never think about that. Because...
Well, what's the speed stat?
8?
Oh, I was gonna make a joke, that's why you never think about it, but that's actually reasonable for Chapter 1.
Yeah, it's actually kind of decent. I think you never think about it because you never get a way to stack crit on him very well. I think you get the first killer axe in 14x, and you have to capture it off of the hero boss.
His speed is only 30%, so unless he's a scroll project for you,
He's also going to stop doubling at some
probably, like,
point.
yeah. And this game has weight, right?
It does, but it's negated by con, and he has big build.
Oh, never mind, yeah. He's got a 12 con, I think basically every axe other than, like, the hammer.
Yeah, he's going to be fine on, like, getting weight down, or not getting weight down.
I might be wrong about that, like, I don't have the weapon values memorized.
That sounds correct, though.
Just kind of going off of feel.
I want to grab a bow off of this guy.
That way Dagdar can do some bow rank training.
We gotta get that bow rank trained up.
That way he can use the Brave Bow and the Brave Axe. Selfina's personal weapon and Halvin's personal weapon.
Woo! Speaking of, grab this for a sec. I don't want you using up my Brave Axe versus this guy coming up.
Yeah, that
Thracia
is
trading.
like one of the things. That is one of the things about the early game is like combat is basically free between Avale, Dagdar, and even Finn, who like. I don't like people saying that Finn is the third Jagan, but like his combat is quite good.
Yeah, he's
Early.
pretty good. Okay.
Like, it's, you know, Avale and Dagdar, Avale literally is invincible, and Dagdar is on, like, another level.
He's almost invincible.
Did you forget to take the bow?
I got it. I took it off with Avale.
Oh, nice. Okay. I missed that. I saw Avale going through Halvan's inventory.
I do appreciate.
And I was like,
I do appreciate it though.
well, I mean, I told you after the fact, so it wouldn't have done anything other than let me laugh at you.
It shows you were paying attention. Watch this.
I'm watching. Oh shit.
Boom.
Oh shit. Oh shit.
Look at oh my god, look at these turn saves. That was crazy.
I can't believe you didn't also rescue with Avale and then take drop at Dagdar.
Oh true, we could have gotten her even further.
Because then she's gonna seize the throne of that house she's next to.
She can seize the house.
Oh, look, it's this guy.
Look at this unit. This goofy boy.
I do not like this unit. I don't think he's particularly good, and I will be honest, I don't think he's particularly fun.
He's something alright.
His big claim to fame is, in addition to having an FCM of 1, which, like, okay, he has movement stars and, like, a semi-decent movement growth. In case anyone hasn't heard of the mechanic, movement stars are stupid. I've mentioned them a few times. Basically, each movement star has a 5% chance to get to move again after any action. It's like chance-based Gale Force, basically. Except for you don't have to kill.
And it's really
just like
funny
Gale Force,
and
you can
weird.
only do it once. Like, I compare it to Gale Force because it happens once. Although if you dance, you get to trigger it a second time.
Oh, that's true.
And your dancer also has one, so a unit can get 4 actions if you're lucky enough, or rig enough.
It's a little bit funny and unreasonable.
But Ronan's whole thing, in addition to like having really high magic, which is res in this game, is he's the movement star archer, so you can have him do funny movement star stuff. And like that combined with he has a personal point of move, so he's got more move at base, and I think he has a decent movement growth as well.
I don't remember off the top of my head.
Because male archer as a class only has 6 move, but he has 7. And movement growths exist in this game. FE5 Ronan.
I know he doesn't get move on promo, funnily enough, because he and Tanya tie movement after promo, I believe.
So he has a 3% movement growth, which is actually decent. Like 3% is low, but most people have like 1 or 2%. So he's a 3% movement growth and a 15% chance to take an extra action. So he's sort of supposed to be the like I'm zooming around the map, shooting everyone down unit.
When he decides to.
I understand that like that's what makes it fun, but I have never like the appeal has never worked for me, both because I don't think those odds are high enough. We'll get another unit later who's like very much the gambling unit, and I find that unit very fun. Who has like a similar build, but
I think I know who you're talking about, and yes,
yeah, the unit is not reliable, but like is very fun. It's the slot machine.
It's funny, and that's what matters.
But also, Ronan is an archer, and like, I did make a video about how archers are not actually as bad as most people think throughout the series. Like, it's kind of just GBA bias that leads that to be the default. But I think Thracia is a game where archers are bad. Like, bows have pretty bad stats in this game. And there's not a lot of scary flyers, and there is value in being able to do enemy phase work.
Because enemy quality is not super high in this game overall. You'll get that one random really scary enemy out of nowhere, but most enemies are not threatening enough that you need to... Not threatening enough so that you need to chip them down from range first, and then finish them off up close with a bow.
Mm-hmm. I did play... I know you don't like this game, but I played a Thracia-inspired hack, Bells of Balin, that had a unit who was clearly Ronan-inspired, and I actually really liked him. And I think what it was is they slightly increased his movement growth, and they gave him a crit bonus.
Ooh.
So he leans, and like bows are valuable in that game too. Like that was the biggest change. Is like, hey, it turns out bows are actually good in this game because enemy quality's high. So he leaned more into gambling. Like you could sometimes level move even more. I think he had 5 movement stars, but I might be wrong about that. So he like, oh, look, it's the funny movement star thing.
He heard you talking
like,
smack.
That's the appeal, right? That's the appeal. That's the appeal. Is like now he can finish off the unit he chipped down.
Sure.
Whereas
why not?
like
He earned it.
the guy I was talking about, like he was killing people, proccing movement stars, killing a second person. And then sometimes you'd be like, okay, I'll chip this guy. Crit, kill, proc a movement star. And like that was very fun. Whereas like I just think Ronan, simultaneously, his combat is not good enough to give you a like. Yes, I get to use Ronan a second time. It doesn't give you the same thrill as like some of the other movement star units, where you're like, oh, I get to use this awesome unit a second time, or even just like even if they're not awesome, like the fun ones.
Because I know some of the units you're thinking of, where it's, whoa, look at all my movement stars, and then you get to jump and cheer whenever they go again.
And even the ones that have like low movement stars, like there's some units who have like 1 or 2 movement stars.
I think Dagdar
but they have
has
high
one.
impact actions.
Yeah, Dagdar,
Dagdar has 1. But like every action Dagdar takes, especially in the early game, is extremely impactful. So like, yay, we got to move a second time with Ronan. So he got to 2-round an enemy instead of chip and then someone else gets the kill. With Dagdar, if he gets a second movement star, like he can capture someone else. Like he can Brave Axe capture someone, movement star, and then Brave Axe capture someone else, assuming that we have like someone available to take you, right? If Leaf gets a movement star, like I don't like that the Lord has a movement star, but at least if Leaf gets a movement star, you're like, okay, I'm moving the guy closer to the throne to seize.
Do you have something I want? Iron Axe, Vulnerary, I don't really care. Now, how do I set this up?
I use Ronan.
Very true. This is 10 twice. 16 takes 10.
Are you trying to capture?
Oh, I was trying to kill with Tanya. Well, Halvin's just gonna crit again. Okay.
Halvin is jealous of the fact that Orson gets a personal weapon, so he's trying to sabotage Orson's girlfriend.
Halvin's going kind of crazy. Let's see.
Tanya is Orson's girlfriend, right? Like, there's a conversation about it? Or
I think so.
at the very least, like...
I think it's kind of...
It's unclear.
I think it's... That's how I always read it whenever I played the game. I kind of read it as, like, a cute young romance. Of them, like,
Yeah, I think
playfully
it's, like,
bickering with each other.
I think it's more one-sided, but...
That's kind of how I imagined it. They're just goofing off with each other, being friends.
So, like, maybe girlfriend isn't the most accurate term, but also they're fictional characters, so I don't care.
It's... We have to solve the canon of the fictional character. I will never recover from this. Also, I think I've been... Yeah, I need to give Leaf a kill or something.
Did you give him the life ring?
Not yet.
I don't think you gave it to him yet, but you haven't given it to anyone yet.
Not yet. I think Leaf usually is who I end up giving the life ring to. I didn't know if there was anyone in particular you could think of that we might want to give it to. Hold this for now.
If you want to use Halvan, he might want the speed ring.
Maybe.
But like you say, his space speed is pretty good, and then I don't think the 2 he gets with the speed ring saves him at the point that he's like starts quote unquote falling off.
I kind of like it on Leaf, so he gets out of his speed hole because he only has 4 AS at base with irons.
The other option is to save it for Asbel.
I'm not really a huge fan of Life Ring Asbel. And if I do want to give him one, I'll just give him the one from 4X. That way I don't have to haul another item into Chapter 4.
I like giving both of them to him, just so that he becomes, like, a bulky mage.
And it's more Chapter 2 deployment.
That, too. I wasn't even thinking of that. Oh, you could give it to Safi.
Ooh, hold up. That might
I
be...
think under the context of this challenge run, you should give it to Safi.
That is actually a huge idea.
Speaking of, would you like me to pull up Lolo Santonia's Iron Man safe strategies for combat training Safi in Chapter 3? So that we can... Because fatigue resets after the army change. And I think it might legitimately be worth investing in Safi's level using her... By combat, I mean she dodges. They're Iron Man safe strategies.
Interesting.
Because she used it in her LTC Iron Man to get Safi to like level 7 by the end of Chapter 3.
I have never heard of this.
Yeah, I'll pull it up. I'll pull it up. I'll pull it up and I'll look at it. I will instruct you.
I think I'm still gonna do Speed Ring on the Leaf, just because he's gonna be around every map. I kind of want him to help out. And it'll really help out in chapters 4 through 7. So how do you do against this guy? 2 damage, you do 42 minus 18. Okay, so if you crit, we can try to feed this to Leaf. Or I can try to give it to Finn. And everyone else just kind of vibe down here and just keep beating up pirates, I guess. Might as well get some early levels on people. I know the Gaian is really easy to get because it's just all the houses have to not get destroyed, not necessarily visit them. I believe,
yeah,
right?
even if you don't visit like the vulnerary house, for example, because that's probably the lowest value one. Well, what does Ronan have in his starting inventory?
Iron bow.
That's probably the lowest value one.
A single iron bow.
If Ronan had an iron bow and a vulnerary, but without it, the vulnerary is probably worth more than him.
Ouch.
But like, if you don't visit the Vulnerary village or whatever, you still get the guide in. Which like, so here's the thing, right? Is like a common criticism, and a not entirely untrue, but I think exaggerated criticism of Thracia is it hides important items, mechanics, and characters behind potentially inscrutable things. So, for example, there's some very centralizing characters that only exist, like are recruited in guide-in chapters, which are optional maps, and so people will often cite 2X, which is the upcoming chapter, as like this chapter gives you 2 of the best characters in the game, arguably 2 of the best characters in the game. You know, I'm
2
not
very
trying to,
important characters.
yeah, I'm not trying to get into a Thracia tiering debate list, but they are very important characters. Whether you think they're the best in the game or just like important for a couple of chapters, missing those 2 characters makes your playthrough feel very different from when you have them.
Very unfun from what I've experienced.
People often cite the fact that you can just miss the chapter they're in entirely as bad because, like, if you get to the chapter that a unit is in, it's usually clear that the unit is recruitable. Or at the very least, like, you can often guess based on, like, looking at things. You know, like, in chapters, in Fire Emblem 6, right, Gonzalez is an enemy, but, like, there's some dialogue where he's like, I'm actually a good person.
Actually a good guy.
And it's not entirely clear what you have to do, because you have to have Lolina talk to him, who, like, is just, yeah, like, sees the goodness in him, but doesn't have any sort of prior relationship. But the fact that someone has a portrait and, like, says that they're a good person is often an indicator they're recruitable. But if you miss the chapter they're in entirely, well, you miss the opportunity to figure that out. So people will often say, like, these 2 characters are very important. You shouldn't be able to miss the chapter they join in. I would counter most people who are playing a game like Fire Emblem blind, and a house gets destroyed by brigands. If they don't reset for the house, they're accepting that they might be losing something.
Yeah. Hey, you got build, strength and speed as well.
Like, I've definitely not reset for houses before in, like, ROM hacks where I'm, like, just like, this house is way too difficult. I hope it doesn't have anything I'll miss too much. But I also am at that point, like, if I missed a character because they were in the house, I don't think I can blame the game for the fact that, like, I had no idea I wouldn't get this important character if I didn't visit the house, you know? Like, I did a Burger King playthrough, and I skipped a treasure chest, and then after the end of the map, I was like, oh, I forgot to get that treasure chest, like, what was in it? And someone was like, warp. The only warp in the game. And I was like, oh, that really sucks. But, like, that's not the game's fault. That's my fault. You know,
oops, no warp.
You want to get the treasure chest, right? And, like, obviously you could make some arguments that, like, there are later guidance where, like, somewhat important characters are locked behind archaic chapters. Like, not even just the recruitment is archaic, the chapter itself is archaic. And, like, I do think that there is criticism to be made about how, like, Thracia feels very much
blank Ava level.
It just shows she's already perfect.
Yeah, you can't improve upon perfection. I kind of want to feed some of these pirates to Leaf, actually, because I've been trying to feed boss skills to him because I haven't been paying enough attention, and now he just hasn't leveled up yet.
Hey, Jacob.
Yeah?
If you ever feel worthless, just remember, Avel has a non-zero speed growth.
She does?
It's 10%.
She has a 10% speed growth? I did not know that. That's hilarious, actually.
That feels like the sort of thing that, like, ROM hackers would include with reverse recruitment in mind.
But it just kind of makes you go, why is it here? It's not getting used.
Yeah.
I did not
Avel's
know
growths
that.
are actually, so she has the 30% HP, 15% strength, 10% magic, 15% skill, 10% speed, 25% luck, that's her highest. Well, aside from HP, but that's
Yeah.
5% defense, 5% con, and 1% movement.
1% move growth.
She also has
Hey,
a personal
technical
point
off.
of move. The Swordmaster
yeah.
class only has 7 move,
Her-
and she has,
her-
yeah, she has 8.
Her personal move stat.
Which I believe was meant to sort of like, because traditionally, Jagans, and not just in like the older games, but even in the newer ones, Jagans tend to be in a mounted class of some sort, usually Paladin, sometimes Great Knight. And I think the reason is that not only are they supposed to be like really good combat to help you out, but the good movement is also quite helpful for side objectives.
Yeah,
Right?
help you get around to the faraway objectives that you need to without having to stretch your weak units too far.
I don't think the houses are too difficult to get in this map. But Chapter 3 actually has some fairly tightly timed side objectives. And multiple in like different directions that I love. Chapter 3. It's one of my favorite maps in the game.
I'm excited
so
for
I'll
us to get
gush
to
about it
chapter
more when we
3
get
so I can hear
there.
you gush about it.
Yeah, I'll gush about it when we get there, but I think Avel's move, like Avel's personal point of move, especially as an infantry unit, is very helpful there, even on top of, like, obviously the quite literally invincible combat. By the way, when we say literally invincible, we do mean
Actually
literally.
invincible.
There's an internal flag. If an attack would kill Avel, it just misses.
She just says no to dying.
And that's because,
Oh.
hit rates in this game cap at 99.
Oh. There we go. I want the vulnerary off this guy. But yeah, hit rates all cap out at 99. And I always forget that and just think that I'm not reliable enough for what I was trying to do. Ah,
It does make this a rather interesting Iron Man game.
because something could go wrong.
His inventory's still full, Jacob.
I clicked the wrong guy.
One of these days, his inventory won't be full. Oh, hey, look, his inventory's not full
There we go.
anymore.
Inventory's not full anymore. Take, double check, release. Easy game.
Oh, I forgot you can just release onto someone. Because of like the limits of ROM hacking in GBA, any of the GBA games that like any of the GBA hacks that have capture, you have to release onto an empty square.
Oh,
I think
they treat
I
it like
think it uses like, yeah, I don't know like the exact coding of it, but I think it uses the rescue mechanics that are already in the game.
Yes, it just reuses rescue, but lets you rescue red units effectively.
Which is kind of what capture is anyway. There's just like a couple of differences.
That hand axe. Not that he's ever going to use it, but you never know. We'll make use of it, I think. Take.
I
Check,
think of it this way,
release.
right? Hand axe has a 45 hit rate against 2 range enemies,
Iron
but
axe
the Iron Axe has a 0.
Yep, that's how I see it as well.
And, like, that doesn't mean you should be defaulting to hand axe. Like, there are definitely squads of enemies where I'm like, I just won't counter this archer, and I'll be more accurate against the other guys, right?
Yes.
But
Twice.
I reject the idea that bad 1-2 range is worthless. Like, it is a value. It's just not great value.
I want to get one more kill. Easy. I really like
Are
the
there any
light
more
brand sound effect.
reinforcements? I think we're done here, right?
We're basically done here. Leaf, go to the throne. Do I want to do any like inventory swapping before I do it? Yes. We'll do. Since we don't
While
have
you're
prepped
doing
yet-
inventory swapping, would you like to hear what the changes to this map in Super Thracia are?
Oh, definitely.
So the pirates are wyverns.
Really?
Yep, pirates are wyverns.
Why?
And Ronan is Altena.
Okay. Like, recruitable?
Yeah, Ronan's recruitable.
What's the catch?
The catch is it's super Thracia.
Because I don't trust that.
Oh, it might not be Altena, actually. It's a flyer of some... It's a better unit. Actually, is it even a flyer? I don't think it's flyer. It's a good unit, though. It's better than Ronan. It's an upgrade of some sort.
Because I refuse to believe Super Thracia
think
would give
it's
you something good.
Oh, they do. They just give your opponent even better things.
It's just better stuff. I think we're all kind of set to go here. Just kind of throw the extra junk I don't need on the archers. We'll give Dagger a Vulnerary, actually. Vulnerary. And Ocean only has a one-use Vulnerary, so we'll give him another one. There we go. I think that's good.
Okay, so it's not Altena, it's Jean.
Oh, the Troubadour girl from the substitute.
Yeah, she's a bow knight now, though.
Interesting.
And she comes with the Nihil manual.
Such a weird change.
I mean, I guess her having bows is good against the new wyverns on the map, though.
Yeah, that is true. Anyways, we did it. We beat the first 2 chapters.
Woo!
And we did it with deploying only the minimum amount of units that the game would let me. Woo!
Chapter 2 was not minimum recruitment. Actually, it was not minimum deployment. Actually,
It was
so
minimum.
Make sure you comment. You should have killed everyone except for Avel.
Kill every last one of them.
Kill every last one of them.
Oh, thank you everyone for stopping in for the new series. I'm looking forward to playing more Thracia because it has been a while since I played this game, and I am excited to dive back into FE5. So I will see all of you in the next one. See ya!
Bye.